If you want to learn how to turn your graphs from something that looks like this to this, then follow along. Welcome back to Excel HQ. Today we're going to be going through a tutorial as quick as possible into making a nice looking chart like this. Let's get right into it. Alright, so the first step is to have our data, which I've organized in my pivot table here. I'm going to be doing it to my revenue and my margin on that. And it's also going to be organized by my months. However, this is for 4 years worth of data. So we were going to be putting in a slicer as well. So we'll just start by going Insert, Recommended Charts, and clicking on a line chart. I'll hit OK. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to copy and paste it over onto a new sheet. And once we're on a new sheet, we're going to take this sheet and we're going to color the background black. We're going to take this and we are also going to get rid of the color in here. So this fill is going to go to no fill and the outline is going to go to no outline. And then at the top, we're going to turn everything white so that we can actually see it. And we're going to take away our buttons, hide all field buttons on chart. We're going to take our legend here and we're going to bring that to the top. And then we're going to go to design. Once we're in design, we're going to click change chart type and go down to combo. And what we want is we want our revenue to be a column, which it is, and our margin to be a line, which it is. But we also want our line to be on a secondary axis, which it now is. I'm going to hit OK. And that's going to put our line on a different level. Now it's basically touching barely even. So we're actually going to take our access for our columns. We're going to right click on that and we're going to go to Format Access. And then over here on the right, we're going to change our maximum to about 750. I'll hit enter on that. It might put my minimum down to negative 50,000. I'm just going to turn that into 0. And now my line chart is hanging above my columns. So I'm also going to take my grid lines here. I'm going to hit delete on them just because I don't need them at all. And now we're already looking much better. We're also going to go to our columns here, and then in our series options, we're just going to change the gap width to possibly 50 if that would look nice. Maybe 75. I think 75 looks nicer. So we're going to keep it at 75 for now. Now we're going to also add in a slicer. So our slicer is going to be for the year. I'm going to hit OK. And then here it is. And this slicer design is really messing up our vibe that we're going for here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a new slicer design. I already have a few up here that I have, but I'm going to go new slicer design, and then I'll just call this like my slicer 1. And then whatever I do to this is going to happen to my slicer. So my whole slicer background, let's just make this black. So right now, all we're going to see is 2022 to 2025 plus our header, which we have to get rid of. So I'm not even going to do anything with that. Now my selected item with data, I want that to pop. So I'm going to go Fill Effects, Vertical, let's choose this one. And then let's give it this cyan color. We'll go cyan to cyan again. Actually, this first cyan, let's make it a little darker. Like this dark. I'm going to click OK, OK, and OK. But actually, one more thing, we're going to do a border. We're going to do a white border all the way around it. And there we go. And now we're going to go selected item with no data. Nothing here has no data, so I don't need to do that. However, unselected item with data, we will have that appearing. So we're going to format that as well. Let's also go for the white outline on that. I don't think I included this in the example I showed earlier, but it might look a little better. Now for our outline here, we're just going to go with a very light shade of this cyan here. So I'm going to go more colors, custom, and then just take it down a notch to about there. That should be good. And here, we'll make the whole thing look like that actually. There we are. So now if I press OK, that should format it as it is once I apply it. So this was the one I just made. There we go. That looks a little bit better. And now we're also going to right click on it, go slicer settings, and we're going to get rid of the header because we don't need the header. Like we know it's years. So why would we ever need the header? We don't. So then we'll just make it nice and small like that. And now on this chart here, especially say I wanted to add data labels, that's pretty messy. Those are huge numbers. So we're actually going to go back to our pivot table for a second, and we're going to reformat this. So I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to hit Control-1, and then go to Custom. And now this is my accounting format right now, which it gives to you automatically. However, we're going to change this up a little bit, and it's very simple. Just a $sign, then a hashtag, and then we're going to do a comma, which takes out 3 decimal places. And then in quotation marks, we could put a K like that. We'll hit OK. And now everything is the first 3 digits K, except here, it doesn't look that nice because there's no comma separating it. So actually, let's go back into here. And then I believe if we just put 2 more pound signs here and then another comma, it will put that comma in for us. There we go. I'll hit OK. And now we have that extra comma in there. Everything is looking nice. Let's go back to our sheet. And now even our access is looking much nicer. So now let's start formatting our columns. I'll go here, I'll go solid fill, not a gradient fill this time, and we're going to be doing that with our good cyan color, or I believe they call it aqua. If you want to know what the hex for this is, I'll go more colors, and then custom, and that just tells you the hex. But now our border is going to be a solid line, it's going to be a solid white line, and we're going to up that to about 3. That looks just fine to me. And then we're going to take our line here, and we're going to go a different color with our line. We're actually going to go gradient. We're going to take out that, add in another, and now we'll go dark purple, nice purple, lighter purple, maybe more on that side like that, and that's going to color our line for us. Now if I click on my line again, I'm going to go up to design, add chart element. I didn't actually need to click on the line, but then if we go to lines, we can add in our drop down lines, which right now it doesn't look that good, but it will in a second. But one more thing, we're actually going to make our line here larger, so I'm just going to up the width to say 3 points for now. That should be fine. Now let's zoom into this a little bit. There we are. Okay, so now I'm going to take my drop down line, and it's going to open up the formatter on the side, and we're going to go gradient. This is the only line that really needs to be gradient to look good. So we're going to start off with the purple, and then we're going to transition into the cyan, which could look really nice. Let's move the cyan up until it looks like it's just coming to the top of our bars. There we go. That looks pretty nice. Then we'll take that. We'll up the width, maybe 1.5. There we go. And now on our chart here, we're going to add our data labels because they are necessary. For these guys, though, let's put them in the middle. So we're going to go format data labels specifically here. Let's go center. And then these guys, let's go above. But then these guys, again, we're going to turn into black text. These guys above can stay white. That's how we want it. And then let's just up it on everything to 10.5. That's good. Oh, these guys turn back. Okay, let's turn them back to black. And there we are. Perhaps we can make that even look nicer. And then our final step actually is usually, because I think it looks nice, is just to add in a little bit of a background. So it's not the exact same as the back. So we'll take this, which looks really bad right now, and we'll turn it black. So right now, this black here is what our background is. So we're just going to go here, and this says lighter by 5%. So we're just going to put that in. Outline, don't necessarily need an outline. And then we're going to send it to the back. So I'll go send to back. There we go. Copy and paste that. Send that one to the back as well. Make that one a lot smaller. Oh. Okay, and transfer that onto our slicer. But now you can see slightly, if you have good eyes, that our slicer here has a black background, and this is 5% lighter. So let's actually go into our slicer here, hit modify, whole table, format, and then this one will be that 5% lighter version as well. I'll hit OK, and then there, it blends in quite nicely with that. And we'll line it up a little bit better. Although we do want to include the whole thing. It's very hard to see actually. There we are. So now I'm going to click on that. I'm going to hold control, click on my slicer as well. And then we're going to go align center, and align middle. So that's going to line it up nicely. And we're actually going to do the same thing with this once we format it out right. Let's make it a bit smaller on the sides. Okay, so control, hold control, select both, shape, align, We're going to align it by center and align it by middle. And what we can even do to go a step farther is group these. And then we can go here and we can hold Control and hit both. Shape format, group those as well. And now I'll take that grouping, hit Control, hold this grouping, hit Control on this grouping, and then these groupings together, we can align the middle. Well, actually, we should really take this a bit closer. But you get the point. So then at the end of the day, our graph ends up looking like this. If you enjoyed this video, please comment down below if you want to see something else different in the future. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you back here next video when we do a gigantic dashboards with tons of charts, tons of links, and it's going to be great. So make sure you stick around. Thanks.